Apart from a lot of other things that were being said, it was very commonly said of how idiot I was for paying what I paid for the Cowboys. And that's not an exaggeration. That's firmly there. Well, I really got screwed. I ended up with the Dallas Cowboys. The truth is, most anything that I've ever been involved in that ended up being special, I overpaid for.
Oh, Jerry, I've missed hearing from you. Shannon, how should Dak feel about what Jerry said there?
Skip, it should bother him. The man sitting next to you, Skip, said I overpaid for you. He's basically saying it bothers Jerry that he had to bite the bullet on this one and give the man $40 million. Now, mind you, Skip, Jerry Jones, I think, is worth $8.5 billion. But the fact that he wanted to pay Dak somewhere between $32 and $35 million and ended up having to go to $40 million, it bothers him. He said it. Skip, how many interviews? You covered the Cowboys for how long? 10 years, 15 years? You covered them for 15 years as columnist.
15.
How many times when they did a contract, he always has the press conference, did Jerry Jones mention overpaying? He's never mentioned this. He did it with Zeke. He didn't mention overpaying. He did it with Amari. He didn't mention overpaying. He did it with D-Law. He didn't mention overpaying. This is the first time that I can recall that he signed a player and he mentioned overpaid.
I'll give you that.
So he's sitting next to the man. And he said, well, you know, anything that I've been involved with that ever turned out to be good, I overpaid. Dak, I overpaid for you. Now, you need to make me right. You need to make me right and overpaying for you by paying it off with a Super Bowl. I don't get why he would need to say that, Skip. And he up there, before, and Jerry's like, that cackling grin. Come on, man. Skip, there was no need for Jerry to mention anything about the pay. I'm happy to have one of our own. We drafted Dak. Dak has been better than we ever thought he would be. And here's a guy that's very deserving of the contract that we gave him.
Yep.
You go to, and honestly, Skip, in all the years I've heard press conference, I've never, ever heard an owner say they overpaid or mention anything about paying too much for a player. Jerry Jones just did that while the player is sitting right next to him. He basically said, Dak, I overpaid for you. I don't know if you're worth the money. Now, in order for this thing to be right, you're going to have to, because he said the Cowboys, you know, got the Cowboys out of bankruptcy, and everybody said, I bought the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
Skip, why I just don't get, and I racked my brain, and I was like, you know, went back and played it again and found another channel that had it on, and I'm like, Jerry just told a man to his face, I overpaid for you. So Dak should feel some type of way. Now, it lessens the blow. I don't care what you did, Skip. The money's in my account now. You can overpay all you want to. The check's clear.
Yep.
But he did say that to the man's face, and Dak should feel some type of way about it.
Okay, I got it. Okay. First point of order, before I launch on what you just said.
Okay.
I wrote a whole book about Jerry buying the Dallas Cowboys out from under Tom Landry and Tex Schramm. And I think Jerry is revising history about how he overpaid for the Dallas Cowboys. Just for the record, and he has used this before. And I love Jerry, and I respect everything he's built there, especially off the field in the way of entertainment.
Right.
And he has turned that team into the most valuable team in all of sports in all the world. So you got to give him that.
Give him that, yes.
But what happened was Bum Bright told me for the first book that I wrote, of the three I wrote on the Cowboys, the trilogy, the first book, Bum Bright, the previous owner, told me he had 4 other bids on the table above Jerry Jones' bid. Jerry Jones was the interloper, the outsider from Arkansas who came to the bargaining table without the wherewithal of the people he was bidding against.
Right.
And those people were Jerry Buss, the owner of the Lakers.
Right.
That's number one.
Yeah.
Did he not have some?
He had the money, yes.
Yeah, he had some pretty
because he bought the
deep
Lakers from
pockets.
Jack Kent Cooke.
That is correct. And then, do you remember Marvin Davis, the Denver land baron? Maybe it's before your time in Denver, but he owned 20th Century Fox for a good while. He had deep pockets, and he was at the bidding table because he was trying to bring a team to L.A. also at the same time and failed there. There was a Japanese conglomerate that was in the mix, and then there was Mavericks owner Donald Carter, who badly wanted to keep the hometown team in the hometown with hometown ownership.
Right.
And all of those bidders wanted to keep Tom Landry, the sacred, hallowed Tom Landry, as the head coach, except for one guy, the outsider, told Bum Bright, no, I'm sorry, I'm going to bring my good friend Jimmy Johnson, who was kind of his good friend because they were roommates, in alphabetical order when they were playing at Arkansas, and they finally fell completely apart, as we all know. But he did. I'm going to bring my good friend Jimmy Johnson, who's never coached a down of pro football. University of Miami's Jimmy Johnson is going to be my head coach. You got to give Jerry. You were talking about some gumption and guts.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I'm bringing him. And Bum was like, thank you, because Bum Bright did not love Tom Landry the way the rest of the world loved Tom.
But he was afraid to fire him.
He was afraid to fire him because you can't. It's Mount Landry. It's God's coach.
He was an institution.
Right. Maybe the biggest institution in a region of any coach in the history of the league. I know Lombardi was huge in Green Bay, but this is Cowboy Nation. This is America's team. Okay, so in the end, Bum Bright said, you know what? I'm going to take a little less money because I'm going to get even with the Tom Landry who has cold-shouldered me from the start. Wouldn't even give him the time of night at Christmas parties. He'd just kind of shake his hand, how are you, and then turn and walk away.
Right.
Because Tom wanted no interference from above.
Correct.
Okay, so the whole notion that people thought I was an idiot for overpaying, no, they did not think that. They thought you were an idiot when you did your first press conference, the night you announced that Tom Landry was no longer the coach, which became the Saturday Night Massacre press. It was live on every station in Dallas. And all he was acting like it was Christmas morning because he had bought the Dallas Cowboys while Cowboy Nation was in mourning because he had just fired Tom Landry.
Skip, if I'm reading the tea leaves correctly, you're saying based on Jerry's finances, he overpaid. But he didn't overpay in value because there are other teams that had the money. But based on his finances, yes, you overpaid. Yes.
Because he was strapped.
Yes, man. Okay.
He was not worthy of being at this bargaining table. Okay. But he pulled it off, and he's right. Yeah, I got screwed. I got the Dallas Cowboys. Well, it was a sensational move. It changed life for Jerry Jones and his family. You want to talk about generational wealth?
Yes.
My Lord, they're all. The Jones family will own this team till death do many of them part, right?
And the question is, Skip, had he not bought the Cowboys and he's still worth $8.5 billion, would people know who Jerry Jones is?
Heck no. Which is why he was at an oil and gas convention in Cabo San Lucas. And he noticed in the San Diego paper a little blurb at the bottom that said the Dallas Cowboys are for sale, and the sort of auctioning company was Salomon Brothers in New York City. And he picked up the phone from Cabo and called and said, hi, I'm Jerry Jones. I want to buy the Cowboys.
Right.
And they were like, you're who? Okay. So the point is that's a little bit of an exaggerated story. But what does Jerry pride himself most on? On negotiating. That he is the greatest negotiator in his mind that ever walked this planet Earth.
Right.
Well, he finally met his match at the table, and it was Todd France and Dak. Yeah. Because Todd had a client who did not, he had kept his arms linked from Jerry. So all of a sudden, that negotiation went from bad to worse. It got so bad, there was bad blood. How long did it go? 2 years. 2 years. So it's the first time I believe Jerry ever thought in his mind that he got beat. His golden tail got kicked by Todd France. So in the end, everybody was saying, starting with Shannon Sharp on, what day was it, Tuesday? Dak beat him. Dak crushed him. Dak took him to the bank. Am I right?
Yes.
And so Jerry yesterday was offering a concession speech. He was saying, you got me. I had to overpay for you. I get what you're saying. Yeah. But he was screaming that between the lines for 2 years.
Right.
He's not worth how much he's asking for.
Right.
I don't know. How many times did I say that on here? 4,789 times. I'm the biggest Dak fan, but I never said he was Patrick Mahomes. I did not say he was Deshaun. I said he was good enough to win you a Super Bowl, maybe a couple of Super Bowls, but he's edge of top 10. Maybe he's the 10th best quarterback. That's still very good. Is he Hall of Fame bound? I can't go there yet. So the point was, Jerry's looking at his achievements so far. What has he done for me? And Jerry finally decided, I can't pay for that. I got to pay for what I think he can do for me in the future.
Right.
and he bet more on his intangibles than on his tangibles and his track record.
Right.
His track record